before. Like never before.
What's going on? What's going on? Welcome to Just Fans Talking Sports on IntellectualRadio.com. Again, this is Just Fans Talking Sports, where the voice of the fan matters, and we are live on IntellectualRadio.com. I am your host, EJ. Today, I'll be solo. My man, Mikhail, was holding some things down with his family, but shouts out to Mikhail and a speedy recovery. We pray and for a speedy recovery for his wife. But again, this is EJ on Just Fans Talking Sports, where the voice of the fan matters. You look, go to our Facebook group page. You can follow us on our Facebook group page. It's a lot of live conversation going on throughout every day, pretty much. It's always a post put up. Good. It's a good fun page. It gets real heated at times, but that's what it's about. Just Fans Talking Sports. So follow us on our Just Fans Talking Sports group page on Facebook. You can follow it live right now. As a matter of fact, if you want to, you can leave comments on the show. You can leave comments. Shoot me a comment, EJ. I disagree with you. I believe that the comment you just made about Steph Curry makes you just a Steph Curry hater. I don't care. And yes, I'm throwing shade at Antonio Perez because him and I go at it all the time about Steph Curry, because Steph Curry is just the hot topic. You can't even discuss basketball. You can't even discuss another NBA player without someone saying something about Steph Curry. And I get it. Steph Curry is the man right now. And we'll get to that. We'll get to that because I have a special little segment today dedicated to the NBA, and of course Steph Curry's name is going to be mentioned. But if you want to call in, you can call in at 708-223-8953. Again, that number is 708-223-8953, and you can follow me on Twitter at Sports with EJ. Again, that's on Twitter at Sports with EJ. So yes, sir, let's jump into this conversation, right? This sports conversation right now. There's a lot of things that I want to talk about, want to chop up today, and all of our content for this show is going to come directly from our Facebook group page today. Directly from our Facebook group page. There's some posts out there that I want to discuss and chop up, and I definitely want to hear your opinions on it. So please give me your opinions, your feedback. Again, you can send us live comments, and I would try to read a lot of live comments today on our show. So I want to start off today discussing the mighty Chicago Bears. And I know some people out there laughing, like, what you mean the mighty Chicago Bears? They did not make the playoffs last year. And are you one of these Bear fans that's excited because of the because of the pickup of Bobby Massey and Danny Trevathan? Yes, I am. Am I saying that the Chicago Bears are going to make the playoffs this year? I'm not going to go that far yet. I want to wait and see what else transpires in free agency. I want to see how the draft turns out. But people, if you pay it, NFL fans know, if it's any sport where you can make a drastic change and not make the playoffs one year, then the next year make the playoffs, it is the NFL. The NFL, you can be 4-12 one year, and the next year you're a wild card. You can be 7-9 or 8-8, barely miss the playoffs as an 8-8 team, or 9-17, barely miss the playoffs. The next year you're 11-5 and win the division. So the Minnesota Vikings, to me, they're built the right way. The Minnesota Vikings are a legit threat. Young defense. The Minnesota Vikings was a field goal away from advancing in the playoffs. That the team is built right. They're built on the defensive side of the ball. They have a young quarterback. And no, he's not a world beater right now. He managed the game pretty good last year. Adrian Peterson had another miraculous year. I don't know what kind of water he's drinking. I mean, he came back from an ACL and MCL injury, had a suspension, and he didn't miss a beat at all. he's a monster. AP is a monster, and every time we come on shows like this, or you turn on, listen to different podcasts, is all we know. You hear the same thing. Adrian Peterson. This is going to be there in rushes for almost 2,000 yards. So Adrian Peterson, the offense is built nice, the defense is built phenomenal, and they're young. And I know a lot of fans out there were like, oh, man, Bears fans, if Matt Forte signs with the Green Bay Packers, look, I wasn't worried about it that much. I wasn't worried about Matt Forte, signing with the Green Bay Packers. I always thought that Matt Forte was going to sign with the New England Patriots. He did not. He chose the New England Patriots rival, if you want to call it a rivalry, because the Patriots it's like the Patriots are the big brother, and the Jets and the Dolphins, they're like little stepbrothers who the big brother pays no attention to at all. So Matt Forte ends up signing with the New York Jets, and people are like, I don't get it. Why didn't he sign with the Patriots? Obviously, the Patriots didn't show any interest at all. I don't know why. To me, it's a perfect fit. Hey, but he didn't. I am glad he didn't sign with the Green Bay Packers, but I am not one of these fans. There are people out there that, Bear fans that say, well, any fans, I don't want to see a player, an ex-player sign with the rival team. Why not? It's Matt Forte's choice. To me, Matt Forte deserves to be on a team. He deserves to be on a team that can compete for a championship. He deserves to be on a team that can compete for a championship. I'm going to repeat it for the third time. He deserves to be on a team that can compete for a championship. With the Chicago Bears, who knows? This year, if the Bears decided to resign Matt Forte, he probably wasn't making the playoffs, because the Bears, they are in what? They're in rebuild mode. But I'm not one of these fans that say I don't want to see Matt Forte wearing the purple of the Vikings. I don't want to see Matt Forte wearing the green and gold of the Green Bay Packers. I don't care. So what? It's the player's choice. And I believe with all the things that Matt Forte has done for the Chicago Bears organization, he's been a model player, a model citizen. He deserves to have a shot at winning the Super Bowl ring. And why wouldn't you at least think about signing with a team that's led by Aaron Rodgers? Why wouldn't you think about signing with a team led by Tom Brady? So hey, it's not, to me, I'm not one of these fans that was going to hate on Matt Forte, and all of a sudden you hate Matt Forte if he signs with the Green Bay Packers. I understood why Julius Pepper signed with the Green Bay Packers, because he said, hey, I feel like this is the opportunity for me to win a championship, and why wouldn't you try to pursue an opportunity to win a championship, right? As normal, regular human beings, if we had the opportunity to work a job or take a higher position or work somewhere, making a little bit more money, or set ourselves up to be more in a more on a more prestige situation. Hey, a lot of people take it all the time. So what's the difference with professional athletes? I don't understand why we hate on professional athletes like that. So Matt Forte ends up signing with the New York Jets. Now, I know the New York Jets are looking at, I believe in one rumor said that RG3 was going to go over to New York, was going to go visit, and they're going to see if they're going to entertain the thought of signing RG3. Patrick may not be there. He may come back. Who knows? Hey, I still think the New England Patriots are going to win that division. The team that made a lot of noise in that division with signings was the Miami Dolphins. Now, the Miami Dolphins, signed, I believe they just signed Jamar Bushrod. They also the Maxwell. They got the corner Maxwell, the linebacker for Philadelphia. So the Dolphins made some moves. They shored up the offensive line. In their opinion, they shored the offensive line. They added, to the defense. Of course, they signed Mario Williams. Don't think it's going to matter. I believe the New England Patriots are still going to be a threat. I don't care if Tom Brady's turning 39 years old. At the end of the day, the New England Patriots are going to win that division. You may call me stupid. Now, of course, if an injury happens, who knows? But injuries to the side, everyone's healthy or fairly healthy or can be healthy enough to be there for the playoffs. The New England Patriots would be in a position because they find a way, right? New England find guys in the 6th or 5th round in the NFL draft. They sign guys off the waiver wire all the time. No name guys, players that no one else looked at, and you look up and they're making big catches, right? So the New England Patriots, in my opinion, are going to be another threat to be in the the AFC Championship game again. It just is what it is. But going back to our beloved Chicago Bears, right? Because we know we can maybe next week, the next few weeks, we can cover the free agency period as a whole. But right now, the Chicago Bears, I am excited about Danny Trevathan. Now listen, let me put it out there right now. Danny Trevathan does have some injuries. All right, he has an injury history. He has a little injury history. Has some issues, but you know what? He made it through last year, right? Danny Trevathan balled in the Super Bowl. He balled out in the in the playoffs. It's a great pickup. If it wasn't for all the attention being paid to Houston, Houston signing the former Broncos quarterback. If it wasn't all the attention, paid to Matt Forte and then the Johnny Manziel being released. If all those other stories were going on, probably the cream of the crop of free agency was Danny Trevathan. I read an article that said that 20 teams were looking at this, adding the services of Danny Trevathan. Danny Trevathan is projected, according to the numbers, he's ranked, I believe it was in the top 15 in coverage. Overall, he's a top 10 inside or top 10 linebacker in the NFL. And the Chicago Bears made a very, very, very good move. I love the upgrade on the offensive line with Bobby Massey. They signed him as a right tackle so Kyle Long can move back to his natural position where he's great at, where he's going to be great at right guard. So I hope the Chicago Bears do address some more offensive line, but the Chicago Bears understand that defense wins championships. Yes, offense gets you to the playoffs. Offense drives up the ratings, but at the end of the day, we saw Cam Newton in a high, explosive offense of the Carolina Panthers get shut down by the Denver Broncos. So I'm happy that they're addressing the defensive side of the ball. I believe that their first 2 picks in the NFL draft coming up should be on the defensive side of the ball. If you can add a Shaq Lawson, if he's there, add a Shaq Lawson. If you can get a nice cornerback or a nice safety in the 2nd round, or or beef up their defensive line. If you can add on to their defensive line in the 2nd round, do it. Beef up the defense. As a fan, I would like to see the Chicago Bears draft a quarterback though. At some point, 3rd or 4th round. I'm a believer. I'm all in. I believe Pace is a great GM. Well, it's a good GM. If you look at the numbers, last year at his draft, Kevin White, of course, the number 7. He was the number 7 pick overall last year. Of course, he missed the season because of an injury, so he'll be back. So it's like you have another draft pick. Pretty much you have another draft pick playing this year because Kevin White didn't see the field at all last year. But if you look at the numbers of his other 5 draft picks, they were very solid picks, and all 5 of those players produced. Especially Goldman, who Buck is even said when he was drafted, I like this selection right here. He panned out. There are a lot of NFL executives, a lot of GMs, a lot of players that's giving Goldman a lot of praise and saying that he is the real deal on that defensive line. So we have a defensive stud to build around. Now you had Pernell McPhee. I love that acquisition last year. Then you added Danny Trevathan on top of that. You have some core. Amos in the secondary, the safety had a very solid season. season. And there are people out there saying, I don't understand why the Bears re-signed Tracy Porter. I'll tell you why. Tracy Porter was signed last year to a 1-year prove-it deal. He proved it, all right? He got signed for, I believe, 2 or 3 years. You got a 3-year extension on his, he signed a 3-year deal. Tracy Porter just a holdover. Don't panic, people. The Bears, they should, and I believe they will still draft a cornerback, a young cornerback to bring in there. So don't panic about that at all. But Tracy Porter played solid football. Now I know there are stats out there that say when that he ranked, I believe, 28th or 30th or somewhere around there when he was targeted. Look, Tracy Porter's not a shutdown. He's not a shutdown corner. He's approaching the twilight of his career. So we're not looking to him to be a shutdown corner. But you have to have players there, and he's going to be a decent player. I believe he's a good rotational corner right now. The Chicago Bears, don't be surprised if the Chicago Bears select a corner in the first round or in the second round, and I believe that they will. But I love the direction that the Chicago Bears are going in. I love the direction. I absolutely love it. Of course, Houston looked good. Now, again, the Denver quarterback, Houston signed. They signed a young guy from Denver, and it's not a lot to go by. It's not a lot to go by at all. But I do like the pickup. They had to address that offense. They cut Foster, but they end up signing Lamar Miller, which was a solid pickup for the Houston Texans. So they added, DeAndre Hopkins is one of the best established himself as one of the best receivers. Their defense was already a good defense. So I like what Houston did, but I'm going to say this. The Chicago Bears are probably one or two good key free agent signings away of stealing the free agency period. They are, of having the best, because I believe they got the pound for pound best player that was available in free agent. That was, not taking out the restricted free agents, because I know Von Miller, but the unrestricted free agents, they signed, in my opinion, they signed the pound for pound best unrestricted free agent in Danny Trevathan. I believe he's more valuable than Malik Jackson. I do. Malik Jackson took that money and went to Jacksonville. Good luck to you there. He took that money and went to Jacksonville. But you can't hate on the man. The man had an opportunity to make a lot of money, and he's going to make a whole lot. Well, he's actually signed a contract to make a whole lot of money. So hopefully they can turn things around there in Jacksonville. But Houston had a very good, so far, I like the Houston Texans pickups. The Miami Dolphins is up in the air. I know ESPN. The Miami Dolphins so far saying that moves didn't make any sense, and I know my man William hates that right there. But you know what, William? I'm not gonna throw shade at the Miami Dolphins. Hey, they're being active. You have to be active in free agency. The Bears, the Dolphins, the Texans, they have a lot of money to spend. They spent it, and another team had a whole lot of money to spend. Well, the Oakland Raiders, and the Oakland Raiders made some good moves. So in the next coming weeks, we can talk more about the NFL free agency as a whole, but I was excited about the Chicago Bears because Pace is being active, and he's not just signing players just to sign them. He's signing players to smart deals. Now, Danny Trevathan is only 26 years old. Massey is still young. So these are good young pieces. Also, I see it. And thank you guys. Thank you. I see. I'm also live right now on Facebook, so I'm reading some of the comments that's coming in. I see that comment. Yes, Willie Young balled last year. Lamar Houston had some good games last year. I'm still a believer that Fangio can build Sutton. So the Chicago Bears have a nice little core to build around. So I'm very excited. And as a Chicago Bear fan, we should be very excited about the direction of the Chicago Bears, because if you look at the Green Bay Packers, well, let me use the New England Patriots as a better example, as the best example, probably. The New England Patriots built their team they built their team from the draft. The free agency is built for this. It's made for this in the NFL. You add on to what you're already building through the draft. You add players that's going to take you over the top. You shouldn't try to build your team through free agency. So I love the direction that Pace is going in. He drafted a very solid draft class last year to build upon. He's also showing that I'm not afraid to let players go. Brandon Marshall wasn't retained. Matt Forte wasn't retained. He likes what he sees in Langford. He likes what he sees in Cary. Hey, I'm not mad at him. You built your team through the draft. The Green Bay Packers, their team, I believe that I read something where I believe it's like 97 or 98% of the Green Bay Packers roster are drafted players. You build your team through the draft, and this is what the Chicago Bears are doing. They have a GM that's there that understands the business side, but also understands that signing free agents and depending on that to put you on, depending on that to build your team is a formula. Not for success. It's a formula for destruction or keeping your team just like kind of running on a treadmill. You're just running in place. But I love the direction of the Chicago Bears all season so far, and I'm excited. I'm excited about Trevathan. I'm excited about Massey. I'm overall the Chicago Bears, and you should be excited about the Chicago Bears as well. Fan. I'm not out here saying the Chicago Bears are going to make the playoffs, are going to win a division because Minnesota is good. Green Bay is still good. The New York Giants actually got better. I believe they're going to compete for the NFC East title along with the Washington Redskins. The NFC South. Carolina Panthers are still there. The NFC West is packed. So, it's going to be hard to make the playoffs, but the Bears are doing what they have to do and what they should do to put themselves in the best position to compete. To compete for a playoff spot. And for anyone to say that you shouldn't be excited, it's silly. You should be excited. Be excited about your team. And the Chicago Bears, for once, have a real GM there. Transitioning over to another sport right now. Let's go ahead and get to this conversation. Let's not hold it off. The NBA right now, I believe the NBA is in a very, very beautiful place. The viewership is at all-time high, and yes, that light-skinned assassin Steph got to do with it. Steph Curry is the real deal. Okay, now let me clear something up. For those inside of our Just Fans Talking Sports group page community, I am not a Steph Curry hater. I'm not. I respect Steph Curry. I believe that actually, real talk, I believe that Steph Curry is a perfect face to have for the NBA right now. He is. With all the social ills that's going on, especially in the African American community, and I'm bringing up African American community because the vast majority of the NBA is African American. Basketball is beloved by all communities, so let me make sure I put that out there. But it's good to see. It's good to see a guy who has you can't really find nothing on the guy. People are probably out there right now trying to nitpick and find something negative to say about Steph Curry. It's good to see an athlete who's not out there living a reckless lifestyle, and I don't have to go into detail about that. You have a whole lot of examples, a lot of examples of athletes who get the think about it. There are a lot. It's a stat out there that says less than 1% of high school athletes are going to make it in a professional sport. Think about that. Less than 1%, right? And we always say growing up, if I had the opportunity, man, to be an NFL player, to be an NBA player, to play in the major leagues, I would take that opportunity. We all at some point, every sports fan or that plays sports and as a child dreamed about making it to the pros in basketball, football, baseball, hockey. I'm quite sure golf, soccer. Everyone wants to make it to the pros, but only less than 1% makes it. So we look back, we sit back and we say, these athletes who are less than they're part of that less than 1% that made it, and they blow the opportunity because of negative peer group associations, getting caught up in legal situations, with drugs or all kind of things that's been going on for the last 20, 25, 30 years. Players getting themselves or putting themselves in bad predicaments. So it's good. It's refreshing to have an athlete that's being put out there to media who has a good image. It is good. It's good to see an athlete that has a good image. With all that being said, though, I still, and you can call me a hater all you want, I still do not believe that Steph Curry should be mentioned with Michael Jordan right now. There are conversations out there right now that's saying, Earl, can you believe this? There are people out there that's saying that Steph Curry right now is on the same pedestal as Michael Jordan. Are you kidding me? What happened to proving it over time? Now let me get this out there for those who say that I'm just a hater. I'm not a Steph Curry hater. I believe that Steph Curry is an MVP of the league this year. He is. I believe that if you look at the overall totality of the sport of the NBA, how it's currently constructed, Steph Curry, you can say that Steph Curry is the best player in the NBA. I mean, the man is knocking down 3-point shots, well beyond the 3-point line, 40-foot shots with ease. It's never been seen before. I know we say Ray Allen. Ray Allen had a beautiful jump shot, but Ray Allen's jump shot was not as lethal as this boy's jump shot. It was not. Steph Curry is something we've never seen before. I have to say, and there's nothing wrong with saying that. But at the same token, Russell Westbrook is something that we've never seen before. Russell, right now, did you know this? Listen, Earl, just fans, talking sports fans. Russell Westbrook right now is, I believe, 8th in the NBA in scoring, right? He leads the NBA in triple doubles. He's 2nd in the NBA in double doubles. He's 2nd in the NBA in steals. Think about that. Now just think about that for a second. This is a point guard. A point guard has more double doubles than power forwards and centers. He's 2nd in double doubles, and he's 1st in triple doubles. The way that Russell Westbrook attacks the basket and what he does all around for the game, how can you hate on it? How can you hate on it? You can't. His team now, hey, I know, and I'll be a man. I admit it. I would say it. I'm backing off the Oklahoma. I'm backing off my prediction that the Oklahoma City Thunder can defeat have a chance, has a remote chance, a remote shot of defeating the Golden State Warriors in a 7-game series. It's not going to happen. The Oklahoma City Thunder, they need another enforcer, and they need another capable perimeter shooter. They do. I would have liked to see Oklahoma sign Kevin Martin. To me, that would have been the perfect pickup. Another player that could take pressure off Westbrook and Durant. To me, that would have been a great pickup. But as currently constructed, I don't see Oklahoma having a chance to knock off the Golden State Warriors. To me, the only team in the NBA that's going to knock off the Golden State Warriors is the San Antonio Spurs. I know San Antonio got blown out by Golden State, but Coach Popovich, I believe in him. He's the truth. And if there's one thing about Popovich is this, he's not going to show his hand too early. And I'm going to tell you guys this. Steph Curry is not the only player in the NBA that we should be paying attention to. Kawhi Leonard. It was an article put out there where it says Scottie Pippen approves. And he said it makes sense for people to compare Kawhi Leonard to him. Kawhi Leonard, to me, is a top 5 player in the NBA. Yes, my brother-in-law, Drummer Man Johnson, doesn't agree with me, but Kawhi Leonard is a superstar. Kawhi Leonard, to me, he can average 25 points a game if he wanted to, because he can get. The man showed you that he can get buckets. Remember, Kawhi. We talk about Steph Curry being overlooked, in the NBA. In the NBA combine and all that, Kawhi Leonard, his agents told him not to shoot the basketball because his jump shot was that terrible. But the San Antonio Spurs scout said, look at his hands. He has a nice little form. We can work with him. And by the way, the Indiana Pacers traded. Well, you know what? They got Paul George there, so the two probably couldn't play together anyway. But Kawhi Leonard is showing us something. Kawhi Leonard is the best example of a two-way player that we have in the NBA right now. And there's no shade to LeBron James, but so this year, I mean, Kawhi Leonard is the best perimeter defender in the NBA, and I can argue the best defender in the NBA. Kawhi Leonard is capable of defending Steph Curry. if he has to in clutch moments. No one in it. Let me dispel a rumor, a myth out there right now. No one in the NBA locks down a player the entire game anymore. They move players around so much now with so many switches and all that. But when key moments, when the game is on the line, Kawhi Leonard can guard any position on the court 1 to 4. I'm not gonna go as far as saying a center, but 1 to 4, depending on the 4, he can guard it. And that's why I'm saying I'm not hating on Steph Curry. But until I see Steph Curry be able to lock down the best perimeter player on the opposing team, then I would say he's the best all-around player in the NBA. Is he having the best year this year? Yes. Is he the MVP of the year of this year? Yes, because he's putting up insane numbers and he's on the best team. But is Steph Curry the all-around best player in the NBA? I don't think so. And I agree with you, William. Kawhi Leonard does it all. He scores. He rebounds. And by the way, he plays great. And the reason I put Kawhi Leonard so high is because he plays not just decent or good defense. He is a great defender. And if you had to isolate him in moments, because people will look at the numbers that LeBron James averaged when the Miami Heat played 2 years ago, when Miami Heat played the San Antonio Spurs, and the San Antonio Spurs defeated the Miami Heat in the NBA Finals, his averages was phenomenal. LeBron did what LeBron does, put up phenomenal numbers. For all those who say LeBron doesn't have the it factor, he's not clutch. LeBron doesn't shrink. Has he had bad moments? Yes. Michael Jordan missed a lot of shots in his career. LeBron James, and that's a discussion for another day. He does need to refine his game some. He does. I'll admit that. LeBron James is still a monster, so I'm not throwing any shade at LeBron James. But when it was time to lock down in key moments, Kawhi Leonard did it. And LeBron James has went on record on this year saying that, man, that's his tough, it's his toughest assignment is being guarded by Kawhi Leonard. He can't stand when that guy defends him. He just can't. Kawhi Leonard is the real deal, people, and he's a humble superstar. He's not going to brag. He's not going to talk. But Kawhi Leonard should be mentioned. So let's not get lost. Steph Curry's having a great year. He's on the best team. He's the face of the league right now. He's hitting 50-foot three-point, shots with ease. I get it. I understand it. I'm not hating. But there are other players out there playing some phenomenal basketball. And don't be surprised. Do not be surprised if the San Antonio Spurs knock off the Golden State Warriors. Don't be surprised. I'm not going to say it is going to happen, but if it's any team that can do it, it is the San Antonio Spurs, and that's regardless. I believe they play another time, and I know they play definitely one more time, maybe 2 more times, and the Golden State Warriors can probably whoop them by 40 points, and I'm still not going to change my opinion. In the postseason, when it all boils down to it, the postseason is where it all matters. Now, with that being said, Golden State Warriors are going to break the record of the Chicago Bulls. And I'm a Bulls fan, but I have to admit it, they're breaking that record. They are. They are breaking that record. Why? I just don't see. I believe they're 58-6 right now, right? Earl, I think they're 58-6. It's something ridiculous. 58-6. It's something. 56-6. It's something. I don't have my my stat man right now with me. But the Golden State Warriors, as of right now, let me see. Before I don't want to put my foot in my mouth. Yeah, I'm going to say this. This is probably one of the most entertaining teams that ever graced the sport of basketball, period. Without debate. Ever. I mean, they do it all. They defend. I mean, think about it. The Lakers, Showtime was phenomenal, right? Showtime was phenomenal. But this is Showtime times 10. I mean, you got a guy hitting 45, 50-foot three-point shots with ease. They're deep. And not only are they entertaining on the offensive side of the ball, they play very good team defense. And I'm not knocking Steph Curry when I say this, but I do believe he's a little bit overrated as a defender because they play great team defense. They understand the concept of team defense, which should come as no surprise because Steve Kerr played on one of the greatest defensive teams ever, the Chicago Bulls. So they play great team defense, great team offense. I mean, the way they move the ball is beautiful. I mean, San Antonio, Golden State, they neck and neck with the way they move the ball. It's great. It's great. If you want to show kids highlights of, I'm not talking about Steph Curry pulling up for 45, 50 foot jump, 38, 39 feet jumpers. I'm not talking about that at all because if a lot of players in high school and grade school, and I'm seeing a lot of YouTube videos of high school and grade school players pulling up well beyond the 3-point line, doing what Steph Curry does. People, everyone can't shoot like Steph Curry. They just can't. You just can't. And any respectable high school or high school coach is not going to let you get away with that. And it's not going to happen in college either. You're not going to see a player pulling up consistently from 38 feet, shooting 3-pointers. Any respectable college coach is not going to let that ride either. So it become a trend. With all that being said, I'm not talking about looking at that aspect of Curry's game. I'm looking at the overall totality of how the Golden State Warriors play basketball. It is great. They're fundamentally sound. And they had that flash to it. Great ball movement. San Antonio Spurs, great ball movement. At the end of the day, San Antonio will be in the Western Conference Finals. Golden State will be in the Western Conference Finals. And to me, that will be the NBA Finals. If any team is going to knock off Golden State Warriors, it is going to be the San Antonio Spurs. I'm not a believer in the Los Angeles Clippers. Blake Griffin comes back, blah, blah, blah. Entertaining team, fun team to watch, and not disciplined enough to beat that. You need to be a very disciplined team to beat Golden State. You have to be a well-oiled machine, and you have to minimize turnovers, and you have to understand the important aspect of ball movement and rotating on the defensive side of the court. Not missing assignments, communicating on defense. And the only team to me that's constructed to do that is the San Antonio Spurs. And that's no shade to the Cleveland Cavaliers. But I've said this a couple weeks ago. Golden State has LeBron number. I don't know why. And there's no knock on LeBron, but it's just something. It's like Cleveland, Oklahoma City. It's just something about them. They still a player. I've always said this, okay? Kevin Love, to me, was not a good fit in Cleveland. And I bet you if they could do that trade over, they would. Andrew Wiggins, actually, to beat Golden State, Andrew Wiggins will be very, very, very helpful right now. That's the type of team you need. Andrew Wiggins is going to be a superstar in this league. And by the way, Tom Thibodeau to the Minnesota Timberwolves makes a lot of sense. The Minnesota Timberwolves, they are the young team, the young up-and-coming team to watch. They are. The way that the NBA people say, man, there's no way that Karl Anthony Towns or Wiggins going to stick around. Wiggins going to go back to, he's going to go to Toronto, especially if Toronto continues to be good. Wiggins going to go to Toronto. He's going to take more money somewhere else. Well, people, I don't know if you're paying attention. The team, the team that you're currently on, with the way that this salary cap is going now, the increase in the salary cap going up the roof, and you can't say crap because man, they throwing a whole lot of money. A lot of mediocre players are getting superstar money or all-star money. But with all that being said, Minnesota's going to have the most money to keep Andrew Wiggins. That's why Anthony Davis stayed in New Orleans. They had the most money to throw at him. They're going to have a lot of money to throw at Karl Anthony Towns for him to stay there. They have a young team, a very young. Ricky Rubio, he's not the point guard that he was hyped up to be, but he's a very intelligent point guard. He doesn't put up the crazy stats, the crazy numbers, but he understands the game of basketball. He's great at the game of basketball. He's great at facilitating that offense. Tom Thibodeau makes sense with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Watch out if Tom Thibodeau signs, if he signs there. Watch out. That's the young team. That's the young up-and-coming team. And Andrew Wiggins right now, just imagine Andrew Wiggins and LeBron James on the perimeter together. Oh, my goodness. In hindsight, they shouldn't. Kevin Love, to me, just not a good fit there. He's just not. I believe going with Tristan Thompson, having Tristan Thompson and Virgil there, well, when Virgil was there, they could have got away with that. Miles Golf was actually playing real. Miles Golf and Tristan Thompson playing, down low on the block together. It was good. It was good. And having LeBron James and Wiggins together, Kyrie, to me, it would have made more sense. You shore up that bench. You got Shumpert coming off the bench, J.R. Smith coming off the bench. Maybe sign you two more veteran. No, a veteran big man to come in there. I mean, it could have been, the team could have been better constructed. And I believe that they were going for, let's get the three superstars and build around the three superstars. Well, Golden State is showing you don't need that. Klay Thompson is not a superstar yet. I believe Klay Thompson was the man on the team somewhere where he had the opportunity to shoot 30, 25 plus shots a night. Klay Thompson can average 23 to 25 points a game. His jump shot is just that deadly as well. But he's not a superstar yet. Draymond Green is Draymond Green's an excellent player. He's the glue of that team. But you take Draymond Green and put him on the Boston Celtics, which is a good young team as well. They have a lot of assets as well, a lot of draft picks. Don't be surprised if a free agent signs over there, signs with Boston. I mean, they have Boston is a nice up-and-coming team themselves, like Isaiah Thomas. Draymond Green goes there. Draymond Green he's going to play the same game he's playing in Golden State, but he's not the player that's going to take you over the top. I mean, he's not a superstar that you throw out superstar money at. And that's no shade on Draymond Green, because Draymond Green is an all-star player. The way that he plays the game, he's Mr. Do Everything. But he's not the guy you're going to put the ball in his hand to get you buckets when when you're down 7-8 and you need someone to carry the team. It's not Draymond Green. It's just that the Golden State Warriors drafted a very good team. They built that team together, and they're showing you that you have a young team, work with the young team, and it helps, it helps that you have Steph Curry, who's developed into a great all-time, probably the best shooter of all time. And it's scary. He's only 27 years old. So when he's 32 years old, that jump shot is not going anywhere. So it helps when you have a player like Steph Curry, but they added free agents to build around a very young nucleus. That's the way it's going. That's the way the NBA is being. Trying to sign three superstars. All these rumors about Amari Stoudemire, Dwight Howard and Rondo going to New York with Carmelo Anthony. It's going to set back that organization. New York has a great young piece in Kristaps Porzingis to build around him. Carmelo Anthony, he's toward the tail end of his career. Adding a couple 30-year-olds to play with Carmelo Anthony and trying to go for it, having three superstars, three big names. You don't have to win that way. Toronto, they're not an NBA. They're not ready to knock off the Golden State Warriors in NBA Finals. But Toronto is a young team. They're built right. I like Toronto. They're built right. Portland is a team, a young team that's taking the next step. They drafted Lillard, drafted McCollum. I mean, they have two good young players in their backcourt to build around. The franchise is built right. They're doing it right. They're doing it through the draft, trying to save money and clear space and have three superstars. To me, I believe that day of age is gone. It's over with. It's gone. Golden State is showing you don't have to do that. San Antonio Spurs, I know people are saying they have a bunch of superstars, but they're aging. Tony Parker's at the end of his career. Ginobili, end of his career. Duncan at the end of his career. LaMarcus Aldridge, okay, he signed there. David West is not the player David West was 6 years ago. Kawhi Leonard was drafted, and Kawhi Leonard was not projected to be a superstar in this league. Kevin Martin is not what he was 6-7 years ago. They have a lot. They have a veteran team. So so don't compare the San Antonio Spurs to to the Miami Heat. 4 years ago. No, it's not the same. It's not the same. It's not the same situation at all. So at the end of the day, San Antonio, Golden State, Western Conference Finals. It's going to be very entertaining. Don't be surprised if San Antonio can even. Don't be surprised if San Antonio wins that series. Don't be surprised because I just trust Coach Popovich. When we come back from the break, we're going to continue a little bit of NBA talk. And then EJ has a rant, and I'm going to end the show with my man, Stop It. You have been listening to Just Fans Talking Sports with the voice of the fan matters with your host, EJ, on IntellectualRadio.com.
Like never before. Like never before. Like never before. Like no. Like never before. 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 Like never. Like never before. 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 Like never before.
Welcome back. Welcome back to Just Fans Talking Sports on IntellectualRadio.com. Again, this is Just Fans Talking Sports where the voice of the fan matters on IntellectualRadio.com. And I am your host, EJ. We just had a very nice, interesting conversation. NBA conversation. The NBA right now is at an all-time high in viewership. It's very excited. And I'm excited to be an NBA fan. Everyone should be excited. Everyone who's an NBA fan, you have a very beautiful game to watch right now. We know the way the NBA is constructed, a lot of young stars. This is without a shadow of a doubt, this is the most, and hear me out when I say this, I'm not saying the best, but this is the most athletic era ever in the NBA, ever. Most athletic era ever of the NBA. Hands down, there should be no debate about it whatsoever. You can debate whether some of the all-time greats, you can debate if they could have played in this era or keep up with these guys in this era. There are a lot, of course, Michael Jordan, I believe he could have, Magic Johnson, Wilt Chamberlain actually was very, now I don't knock Wilt Chamberlain numbers, but I'll just say this, we have to keep it in historical context and perspective, right? That a lot of the competition he played against, I mean, he was centers that was guarding him was like 6'3", 6'2", man. I mean, but Wilt Chamberlain, I mean, if you look at his measurement, his measurables, he was crazy off the chart athletic. So Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem could have played in this era. Magic Johnson could have played in this era. Larry Bird could have played in this era. So I mean, there's a lot of athletes and great athletes in the past that could have played in this era. But at the same time, I'm not afraid to say it. There are a lot of athletes that played in the 50s and the 60s, even some in the 70s, even some in the 80s. That couldn't hang with these young boys today. But there are a lot of athletes in this era, but I think we get this missed. Look, we throw this out there all the time. There are a lot of these players couldn't play in that era. Steph Curry getting off that jump shot in any era. Russell Westbrook is going to the rack in any era. The way that Russell Westbrook plays the game of basketball, people will say LeBron James is soft. How? His competition doesn't say that. They talk about the strength of LeBron's strength. As fans and media, we say that, but LeBron James, his contemporaries does not say that at all. They say the exact opposite. How hard it is to guard him, how physical he is. LeBron James could have played in that era. Draymond Green could have played in that era. Allen Iverson, I know Allen Iverson retired a few years ago, but Allen Iverson, if Allen Iverson, it was, he didn't play in 1990, but Allen Iverson played in the 90s. In the early 2000s, was still somewhat of a physical brand of basketball. Steph Curry, to me, can survive just like Allen Iverson can. He could. That jump shot, Steph Curry can get to the rack with ease against any defender because he's a great ball handler. He has a great jump shot. Russell Westbrook is probably the most athletic point guard I have ever seen. And you have had NBA legends say that. His physicality is off the charts. Now, there are some superstars today in this game that I do question if they'll be putting up the same type of numbers. Yes. Especially in a more physical era. But you know what? As a fan, I even had to pump the brakes on this. And Earl, can you cue up my man? Stop it. It's perfect for right now.
Man, stop it.
This man, stop it right here goes out to everyone. And I'm going to even include myself, my past self. I'm speaking to my old self in this one. Everyone who that says that the NBA today, that pretty much that this NBA today is too soft. Now, I do agree. I wish it was more physicality going on. I wish it was more trash. I'm not saying dirty, cheap shots, but I wish this NBA was a little bit less too friendly. I mean, I understand everybody's guys, everyone has the same agents, and everyone does. A lot of players do trips together. They do a lot of summer camps together, train. I understand that. I mean, I think a misconception about the old days. Of course, the Bulls and Pistons hated each other, but Magic Johnson and Larry Bird went at it, and they were great friends. Jordan, Barkley went at it. They were great friends. Michael Jordan was actually good friends with Patrick Ewing. They went at it. You saw the rivalry. It was a respect that Isaiah Thomas and Magic Johnson loved each other. They were good buddies. But that did not stop them from going at it. In today's game, I do think that it's a little bit too friendly. I would like to see a little bit more physicality. I would like to see a little bit some more of these rules, like the rules of the NBA today. I like the rules that set up for the offense. Can't touch the quarterback. Breathe on the quarterback now. What happens? It's a 15-yard penalty. It's the same way in the NBA because it's all about scoring now. But with all that being said, for every fan, every person that says that this era could not play in the old era, this goes out for you.
Man, stop it.
Why am I saying this?
Stop it.
I'm saying, man, stop it, because you know why? We have to appreciate the game for what it is today. It is what it is. That's my new saying right now. It is what it is. The NBA is not the NBA. Who knows what Golden State Warriors would have done, 15 years ago. Who knows what they would have done against that Chicago Bulls team? I still believe the Chicago Bulls, that 72-10 team would have defeated this Golden State Warriors 4-1. 4-1. That would be my prediction. I still believe that. But listen, they only can play in the area they can play in. That's it. They can't, and they can't apologize for it. So I do think that we should just appreciate this NBA era for what it is now, and continue to have our debates about who's the best athlete and what Steph Curry ranks all time. Which we'll have that debate next week. We'll have more NFL talk, more NBA talk for you. I'm going to get to some Chicago Cubs and some Chicago White Sox talk next week. Follow us on Facebook, on our Facebook group page at Just Fans Talking Sports. You have been tuned in, and thank you for listening and following Just Fans Talking Sports, where the voice of the fan matters, on IntellectualRadio.com. We will see you next week. Check it out.
Before. Like never before. Like never before. Like never before.